चालू कर दिया क्या? ओके। Good afternoon. Just a minute. 1 hour.
Actually, we have got official circular every Tuesday in class.
You show me the circular, ask to the principal. The principal tells me to go out, I'll go out.
Okay. I didn't mean in that way, sir.
Last time also. So we didn't receive anything, no? My HOD is asking me to continue the class. Just take that.
Yeah.
Make it formal. Yeah. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. So today we are we will discuss about air pollution. Okay. So thank you. So air is so we will start our revision on environmental chapter. We'll talk about air pollution. So air is essential for life itself. Without it, we could survive only a few minutes. It constitutes of immediate physical, environmental, and living organisms. The atmosphere is layered into four distinct, which are troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. In normal components of our atmosphere are nitrogen comprises around 78%, oxygen 20%, carbon dioxide 0.03%, everything else 0.07%. Noble gases like krypton, xenon, argon, helium, methane, sulfur dioxide. Okay. So what is air pollution? Air pollution consists of gases, liquids or solids present in the atmosphere in high enough levels to harm humans, other organisms or materials. Air pollution consists, so I'll just repeat again. Air pollution consists of gases, liquids or solids present in the atmosphere in high enough levels to harm humans, other organisms and or materials. It may be defined as any atmospheric condition in which certain substances are present in such concentration that they can produce undesirable effects on man and his environment. So, any visible or invisible particle or gas which is found in the air that is not part of the original normal composition is known as air pollution. What is air pollution? The air pollution may be either emitted into atmosphere or formed within atmosphere itself. Primary air pollutants are sources such as factory, chimney or exhaust pipes. Secondary air pollutions are X ozone. The sources of primary air pollution are transportation, miscellaneous industrial processes, fuel, fuel combustion, etc. So transportation comprise of around 57%, and industrial processes are comprised for around 12%, and fuel combustion comprise for around 21%. There are other reasons of other miscellaneous air pollutant which comprise for around 10%. The main sources of air pollution are automobiles, uh, industries, domestic sources, tobacco, and miscellaneous. The main sources of air pollution are automobiles, the most important variable. So motor vehicles are a major source of air pollution throughout the urban areas. They emit hydrocarbons, carbon monoxide, lead, nitrogen oxide, and particulate matter. In strong sunlight, certain of these hydrocarbons and and oxides of nitrogen may be converted into atmosphere into photochemical pollutants of oxidizing nature. The main source of air pollution are, in addition, diesel engines, where when misused or badly adjusted, are capable of emitting black smoke and um, malodorous fumes. Then there are industries. The combustion of fuel to generate heat and power produces smoke, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and fly ashes. The petrochemical industries generate hydrogen fluoride, hydrochloric acid, and organic halides. Many industries many industries discharge carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, ozone, hydrogen sulfide, and sulfur dioxide. The industries which discharge their waste from high chimneys at high temperature and high speed are another reason. In terms of domestic sources, the domestic combustion of coal, wood, oil is a major source of smoke, dust, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. Tobacco smoke, the most direct and important sources of air pollution affecting the health of many people are tobacco smoke. Even those who So should I continue? Should I continue? Thank you. So the most direct important sources of air pollutions are affecting the health of many people. I used it once. The most direct and important sources of air pollution affecting the health of many people are tobacco smoke. Even those who do not smoke may inhale the smoke produced by others. That is known as passive smoking. So there are two types of smoking: active smoking and passive smoking. So tobacco, those people who are smoking directly by themselves, they are exposed to direct smoking, active smoking, and even the people who do not smoke and may inhale the smoke produced by others in the same room or same area, It's known as passive smoking. Coming to the miscellaneous, this comprises of burning refuse, incinerators, pesticide spraying, natural sources, for example, wind-borne dust, fungi, molds, bacteria, and nuclear energy programs. All these contribute to air pollution. Now, it's important to note certain things here, and those are, although the Earth's atmosphere extends to several layers above the surface, it is the only it is only the first 30 kilometers that holds the major portion of the atmospheric gases. So, talking about the atmosphere here, we should recollect what you have read it in your school. Although the Earth's atmosphere extends to several layers above the surface, it is only the first 30 kilometers that holds the major portion of atmospheric gases. Man is most directly concerned with only the 8 to 10 kilometers of atmosphere. So what the humans are mostly concerned with, only 8 to 10 kilometers of the atmosphere. The level of atmospheric pollution at any one time depends on meteorological factors, for example, topography, air movements, and climate. Winds help in the winds help in the dispersal of dilution of pollutants. If the topography of dominated by mountains, if the topography is dominated by mountains or tall buildings, the wind becomes weak and calm, and pollutants tend to concentrate in the breathing zone itself. Now, the vehicle diffusion of pollutants depends upon the temperature gradient. When there is a rapid cooling of lower layers of air, there is a little vertical motion, and pollutants and water vapors remain trapped at the lower levels and result in smog. The temperature inversion, which is a more frequent in winter months than in spring or summer, is the threat to human health. Coming to the major pollutants are carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, and ground level ozone. We'll discuss one by one probably. So carbon monoxide, the major, I'm repeating this, the major pollutants of the air are carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, particulate matter, and ground level ozone. Now carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is colorless, odorless, uh, and a product of incomplete combustion of carbon containing material, such as in automobiles, industrial processes, heating facilities, and incinerators. So it is a colorless, odorless gas. It is a product of incomplete combustion of carbon containing material such as in automobiles, industrial processes, heating facilities, and incinerators. Some widespread natural, non-biological, and biological surfaces have also been identified. The concentration in urban areas depends on weather and traffic density also. Coming to the effect of carbon monoxide pollution in the health, on the health, it causes harmful effect by reducing oxygen delivery to body organs. It extremely, it extremely high, in extremely high level, it can cause death. Carbon monoxide's affinity to hemoglobin is 240 to 270 times greater than oxygen and fetal hemoglobin, and has higher affinity to carbon monoxide. So it competes with oxygen to bind with hemoglobin. It causes harmful effects by reducing oxygen delivery to to body organs in extremely high levels. It can cause death. Carbon monoxide's affinity for hemoglobin is 420 to 270 times greater than oxygen, and fetal hemoglobin has higher affinity of carbon monoxide. So it completes with oxygen to bind irreversibly with hemoglobin. It affects effect of carbon monoxide pollution on health. By this exposure, by this exposure to it reduces the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood to the heart, brain, and other organs. It deprives body of oxygen, causing headaches, fatigue, myocardial infarction, and impaired vision. Coming to sulfur dioxide, it is one of the several forms in which sulfur exists in air. The others include sulfur hydroxide, H2S, H2SO4, and sulfate salts. The sulfur dioxide results from the combustion of sulfur containing fossil fuels, and when coal and fuel oil are burnt, domestic fires domestic fires can also produce emission containing sulfur dioxide. The acid aerosol sulfuric acid is a strong acid that is formed from the reaction of sulfur trioxide gases with water. Just a nitrogen nitrogen oxide is produced by combustion. Nitrogen dioxide, which has greater health effects, is a secondary pollutant created by oxidation of no under contribution oxidation of no under condition of sunlight, or may be formed directly by higher temperature. Combustion is power plant power plants or indoors from gas stoves. Nitrogen dioxide Nitrogen dioxide, it is reddish brown gas present in car exhaust and power plants. The levels of exposure to nitrogen dioxide that should not be exceeded by WHO guideline levels are respectively around 400 microgram by meter cube and 150 microgram by meter cube. Sorry, 400 microgram of meter cube in 1 hour and 150 microgram of meter cube for 24 hours. Now, particulate matter it represents the complex mixture of organic and inorganic substances. Mass and composition tend to drive into two principal groups: coarse particle larger than 2.5 micrometer in micrometer, I think, in aerodynamic diameter, and fine particles smaller than 2.5 micrometer in aerodynamic diameter. The smaller particles contain the smaller particle contains the secondarily formed aerosols, combustion particles, and recompensated recompensed organic and metal vapors. The large particles usually contain Earth's crustal material and fugitive dust for roads and industries. The particulate matter is responsible for size may be edited. The particulate matter of respirable size may be emitted from number of sources, some of them natural and many other that are more widespread and major and more important. Power plants and industrial processes, domestic coal burning and industrial incinerators. Coming to the ground level ozone, this is formed when pollutants such as nitrogen oxide and volatile organic compounds react to sunlight. High levels can cause breathing problems, reduce lung functions, and triggers asthma symptoms. Ground level ozone can also seriously damage crops and vegetation. Ozone is powerful greenhouse gas and contributes to global warming both directly and by reducing carbon uptake by vegetation. Ground level ozone gas, as per the guidelines of WHO, it is 150 to 200 micrograms per meter cube and 100 to 200 for 1 hour exposure and 100 to 200 microgram meter cube for 8-hour exposure. So all these the smog is sorry smog is made of mixture of those pollutants in the atmosphere. The combination of words smoke and fog makes smog. There is a there are two types which reducing smog there are two types reducing smog categorized by sulfur dioxide and particulate, and photochemical smog characterized by ozone and other oxidants. First, smog related death First smog-related deaths were in London in 1873. Death of 500 people. Death of 500 people. Can you imagine how much worse the atmosphere is now? It limits visibility, decreases UV radiation, yellow and black color over cities, and it causes the respiratory problems in and bronchial related deaths. So this is a photograph of smog which affects the plants. This is a comparison of the plant with smog and without smog. And this is a photograph probably of Delhi which is suffering from smog. This is not carbon dioxide. This is not commonly regarded as an air pollutant, although man generates enormous amount of it in combustion process using coal, oil and gases. Carbon dioxide is natural. Carbon dioxide is a natural constituent of the air. It does not take part in significant chemical reaction. It does not take part in any significant chemical reaction with other substances in the air. However, its global concentration is rising above above the natural levels by the amount that could increase global temperature enough to affect climate markedly. Volatile organic compounds, if we okay, just volatile organic compounds are divided into separate categories of methane and non-methane. Methane is extremely efficient greenhouse gas which contributes to enhanced global warming. Non-methane right, and non-methane gases, the aromatic compounds benzene, toluene, and oxylene are suspected carcinogens and may lead to leukemia through prolonged exposure. Polynuclear aromatic hydrogen are a large group of organic compounds with two or more benzene rings. They are formed mainly as a result of pyrolytic process, especially the incomplete combustion of organic materials, as well as natural processes such as carbonization, and there are about 500 polyaromatic hydrocarbons in the air, the best known as BAP. Polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons, the average of total BAP contents in the mainstream smoke of one cigarette was 35 nanograms before 1960 and 18 nanograms in 1978 or 79. The modern low tar cigarette gives around 10 nanogram BPM. The concentration of BPA in a room in a room extremely polluted with cigarettes smoke can give rise to around 22 nanogram per meter cube. In the past, chimney sweepers and tar workers were, were dermally exposed to the substantial amount of pH, and there is sufficient evidence that the skin cancer in many of these workers was caused by PAH. Polynuclear aromatic hydrocarbons. Epidemiological studies in coke oven workers, coal gas workers, and employee in aluminium production plants provide sufficient evidence of the role of pH in the induction of lung cancer. Owing to its carcinogenicity, no safe levels of pH can be recommended. Coming to toxic metals, lead, cadmium, and copper. Those metals are produced from different factories and can have immediate health effects and long-term effects on human health. Chlorofluorocarbons and pero, peroxys, sorry, chlorofluorocarbons and peroxyacetyl nitrate are some of the Now coming to monitoring of air pollution, the best indicator of air pollution are sulfur dioxide, smoke, and suspended particles. A known volume of air is filtered through a white filter paper under specific conditions, and the stain is measured by photoelectric meter. The smoke concentration is estimated and expressed as micrograms cubic meter of air and as an average of levels over the period of time. The best indicators of air pollution are sulfur dioxide, smoke. Okay. Now the grit and dust measurement. Deposit the deposit gauges collect grit and dust and other solids. There are there are analyzed they are analyzed monthly. The coefficient of haze, a factor used particularly in USA in assessing the amount of smoke or other aerosol in the air, is known as coefficient of haze. Is another measurement. Air quality index. It indicates whether the pollutant level in the air may cause health concerns or not. It ranges from 0 to 500. That is the greatest concentration. Types of air pollution. There are indoor air pollution and outdoor air pollution. The indoor air pollution is like, for example, is mostly generated by cooking um, cooking and other activities like cooking, smoking, uh, overcrowding, and again lack of good ventilation, closed doors, closed windows. All this thing happen with indoor air pollution. Coming to okay, indoor air pollution is one of the most critical global environmental problem. Probably exposes more people worldwide to important air pollutants than does pollution in it itself. Outdoor air pollution is the rural people in the developing countries may receive as much as two-thirds of a global exposure to particulates. According to WHO, around 3 billion people still cook and heat their homes using solid fuels in open fire and leaky stoves. About 2.7 billion burn uh, burn biomass like wood, animal dung, crop waste, and further 0.4 billion use coal. Such cooking and heating processes Such cooking and heating produces high levels of air pollution with a range of health damaging pollutants. Now, indoor pollution in poorly ventilated dwelling indoor smoke can be 100 times higher than acceptable levels of small particles. Exposure in particularly Exposure is particularly high among women and young children who spends the most of the time near the domestic health. Now, coming to pollutant, the respirable particles, the tobacco smoke, stove, aerosol spray, the carbon monoxide. So, the respirable particles are tobacco smoke, stove, aerosol sprays. The carbon monoxide, uh, the carbon monoxide is combustion equipment, stove, and gas heaters. Nitrogen dioxide are gas cookers, cigarettes, and carbon dioxide is combustion, combustion and respiration. And formaldehyde comes from particle board, carpet adhesives, and insulation. Now, pollutants with sulfur dioxide comes from coal combustion. Other organic vapors like benzene, toluene, etc. comes from solvents, adhesives, resin products, aerosol spray. Ozone comes from electric arcing, UV light sources, etc. The radon and so I'm not reading everything. Kindly go through this table. Pollutants with the sources. Right. Smoky cooking fuels, open fire cooking stoves produces heavy smoke containing fine particles, carbon monoxide, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. I think we'll stop here for today. We'll start with carbon monoxide from slide number 55 in our next class. Thank you. Have a good day.